Assalamu alaikum. This is Business Studies with Saad Abdul Kareem. Today, we are going to discuss and study organization and management. Now, what is organizational structure? Organizational structure varies from organization to organization and from the form. For example, sole trader is going to have a smaller structure, partnership is going to have a bigger, private limited company is going to have a bigger than the partnership, and public limited company, the biggest one, just like Unilever, P&G, and so on, is going to have the biggest organizational structure. Now, what is organizational structure? Organizational structure is the structure of the organization from top to bottom. On the top, the owner is going to be there in case of sole trader. Partnership, in partnership, we have the partners. Similarly, directors are going to be there, elected by the shareholders in the private limited and public limited company. Later on, we are going to have a directors and different departments: marketing, finance, HR, human resource, IT, and it's going to be the manufacturing. So operations is going to be there. So organizational structure refers to the level of management and division of responsibilities within an organization. Director is going to report to the CEO, manager is going to report to the director, assistant manager is going to report to the manager, and so on. We are going to have two kinds of organizational structure: short organizational structure and the wide organizational structure, or the bigger one. Now, there are advantages of short organization structure and disadvantages. Let's discuss them. Communication is quicker and more accurate. Top managers are less remote from the lower level of the hierarchy. The span of control will be wider, one manager, more subordinates. So when we speak in terms of short organizational structure, it is also called the wide. Means, let's take an example. It's going to be clear to you. Say there are two kinds of buildings, 10-story and 20-story. So similarly, we have organizational structure of 10 levels and 20. So 10 level is going to be the short and 20 levels are going to be the bigger. So the shorter is, so more people are going to work in and all, okay? And if it's going to be the tall one or the bigger one, like 20 levels, so definitely that you may need more time to reach to the top level and so on. Just like there are advantages, there are disadvantages of a short organization structure as well. Managers could lose control since they have a lot of people under them. If you look into managers, and in case of a short organizational structure, so more people are going to work in under the short organization. For example, if 3 people in the long hierarchy, so there could be 7, 8, or 10 people working under a short organizational structure because there will be short levels. As we know about it, that the more people are going to be there, so the difficult is going to manage over there. Subordinates could be incompetence. Yeah, it could happen if there will be more people, more employees. So there could be the problem of incompetency. It would be difficult to communicate with large number of employees, just like you mentioned. So there is a big difference that you are going to deal with 3 employees or 10 employees or 20, 30, and so on. Now, advantages of a tall organization. There is a narrow span of control, that is, each manager has a small number of employees under their control. This means that employees can be closely supervised. So, narrow span, what does that mean? Means there will be less employees under you. So it will be much easier to control as compared to the short organization. This means that employees can be closely supervised. There is a clear management structure. The functions of each layer will be clear and distinct. There will be clear lines of responsibilities and control. Here we have a technical term called layer. So let's understand with the help of the example that what layer means. So layer, just like we have floors in the building, so similarly we have layers in the hierarchy of organization. For example, we have directors, managers, assistant managers, okay, then we have supervisors. So these are called layers, just like the floors of the building. Disadvantages of a tall organization. The freedom and responsibility of employee subordinates is restricted. So freedom and responsibilities of employees, how they are going to be restricted, because say you are having more people, so the freedom is going to be limited for that. Ji beta, we are having a revision, Hansala, and then later on we are going to come up with a new, new syllabus according to the next level is going to be senior 3. So, right, Ji Hansala. Okay,
Okay, sir.
okay. I'm going to respond your queries later on. All the queries. Okay, let's focus on the chapter right now, and then we are going to start. So we are going to deal with all the chapters, and we do make sure that we do discuss all the revision and all the chapters. Okay, and when we are going to get it done, so inshallah we are going to start some new chapters. Advantages of delegation for the manager. Manager cannot do all the jobs. And that is clear because uh, being human, we cannot do all our jobs by ourselves. So this is one of the reasons that we delegate authority. Now what delegation means? Transfer of authority from the top to the lower level of management, so that you want to make sure that you are going to do all the important work. Managers are less likely to make mistakes if some of the tasks are performed by their subordinates. Similarly, manager can measure the success of their staff more easily by looking at their work given. Now, these are the advantages of the delegation for the manager. Advantages of delegation for the subordinate. The work becomes more interesting and rewarding. So when you are going to get the delegation from, or you are going to delegate your power to the subordinate. So for the subordinate, the work is going to be more interesting and rewarding. Why? Because now he or she is going to have more powers. The employee feels more important that my boss has given me some important work, right? Delegation helps to train work, which improves efficiency of workers. I give you example. If there is a computer operator or telephone operator, so and you want that person to be a computer programmer, so that person needs some training for that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'm going to mute you so that we can carry on with the lecture. Okay, and the question and answer session is going to be later on. The questions with you because we already discussed this one. Okay, delegation helps train workers, which improves his efficiency and productivity, and definitely we know about it that training increase the productivity of the worker. Why might manager not delegate? To motivate employees, which increase productivity, to keep costs under control, to increase profitability of the business. And why manager, sometimes it happens that he or she is not going to delegate the authority because the manager is reluctant. Okay, and why is that? Because that person believes that okay, I could do my work best. So sometimes it happens as well. Okay. To keep costs under control, nowadays this is the very best example that what we are having in that since business are suffering from losses, so they keep their staff as low as possible. So they hire less people, or they make redundant some of the employees, let them go, either for a certain period of time or maybe for a say permanent basis. So this is how they keep cost under control. To increase profitability of the business, the less cost is going to be, so the more profitability of the business is going to be because of the less expenses. Functions of management. So now one of the important part of this chapter is that what are the different functions of management. So let's discuss them one by one. The first function of the management or the role of the management is planning. Planning, if you fail to plan, so simply speaking, you are planning to fail. Let me say that again. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So planning is also a management process concerned with defining goals for a company's future direction and determining the missions and resources to achieve those targets. To meet objectives, managers may develop plans such as business plans or a marketing plan. The other function of management is organizing. Organizing is the function of management that involves developing in an organizational structure and allocating human resources to ensure the execution of objectives. Organization also involves the design of individual jobs within the organization. And organization, we could understand it. Why? Because if we make people specialize, so they can do their work better. Just like we had a very simple example in our chapter, earlier chapter, chapter 2, that Joe, he earlier do all the work by himself, cutting the wood, assembling the table, polishing the table, and delivery of the table. But later on, poor people, they do their job differently. Okay, cutting the woods is done by somebody else. Similarly, assembly, polishing, and the delivery. So instead of one table a week, they end up with 20 tables a week. So definitely organization or organizing the job is going to bring the efficiency, increase the output, and so on. Coordination. It means bringing together. It ensures unity of action among individuals, work groups, and departments, and brings harmony in carrying out the different activities and tasks so as to achieve the organizational goals effectively or efficiently. So, coordination is whether it's individuals, it's about the groups or the departments like finance, HR, because every department, every individual, or the group, they supposed to communicate. It's very important. Controlling. Controlling means let's do it as compared to the one when we are going to look into that giving instead of giving order. So controlling helps to seek planned results from the subordinates, managers, and at all levels of an organization. The controlling function helps in measuring the progress toward the organizational goals and brings any deviations and indicates corrective actions. So being a manager, you're supposed to know how to control your staff. Now, functions of management. If you are going to look into functions of management, so one of the most important tasks that is commanding guides the organization with well thought out vision that makes it effective. It controls, provides structure to the organization in order to make it more efficient. So if we are going to look into the difference between controlling and commanding, so controlling means let's do it together, and commanding is just do it. Now, in this chapter, we are having one part that is style of leadership. And there are three kind of leadership. So being a smart manager, you need to look into which one apply to which situation. Autocratic leadership is one-way communication. It is where manager expects to be in charge of the business and to have their orders followed. So mostly rules and regulation requires that you're supposed to follow the autocratic leadership. Democratic, most of the time, businesses follow democratic leadership. It involves two-way communication, gets other employees involved in the decision-making process. And laissez-faire leadership, especially good when you are assign somebody in some other place or having a joint venture with somebody else, okay? Or you are hiring, say, being a multinational, hiring different employees from different countries. So you give them a job and leave them. Okay, now this is your area, you are going to do it. So laissez-faire means free to do or leave to do. Employees are left to make their own decisions and organize their own work. So for the next classes, it is recommended to you, Hanzala. So make sure do join it early so that you don't waste time and understand it better. Okay. So make sure you are going to follow in the